In this video, we will look at the functions of price mechanism through diagrams. This is a simple demand and supply curve. We will try to name the axis. This one would be price and quantity demanded, and this would be the demand curve, and this would be the supply curve. At this high price, you will find that only few of the good is demanded, and as the price goes down, there is more goods demanded at this price point. So you can see the quantity has increased. And if you look at the producer's point of view, at this low price point, there are few goods are manufactured, and as the price increases, they would have the incentive to increase their production also. So at this equilibrium, where the supply and demand curve meets, this is where the supply and demand equals. So at this equilibrium E, the price would be P and the quantity would be Q. Now we will look at the functions of price mechanism through an example where the supply is having a shock. So what happens to the market and how price mechanism it's going to adjust itself. So when the market experiences a supply shock, this was the supply for at equilibrium. So when it experiences a supply shock, the supply curve will move to the left. So this new supply curve, we will mark it as S1. So this supply shock reduces the supply at every price point. So as you can see, at the equilibrium price, the supply is so much less than before. This creates an excess demand at the existing price. So the demand is here, but the supply is only here. So the price is now forced to move up to this price point, as we will mark it as P1. So what happens, as you can see, the quantity demanded will be reduced at this price point. It's because of the rationing effect. So we can call it rationing effect. As you can see here, because the price is increasing, people will try to conserve the good and they will try to ration it. So the quantity demanded will decrease from Q to Q1. And also another phenomena is that because the prices are increasing, there is an incentive effect. Incentive effect, because now the producers have the incentive to produce more good and extend their supply. As you can see here, the rationing effect happens on the demand curve D because it affects the consumers, and the incentive effect happens on the supply curve because it affects the producers. We are now going to look at the signaling function of price mechanism through a diagram. As we have seen in the last example, because of the supply shock, the S was shifted to S1. So the prices moved from E, equilibrium price, to E1, the new equilibrium, to the price point of P1. So in the long run, the higher price of P1 sends out signals to the producers. And what happens is, it will give us more firms entering to the market, or the existing firm coming up with new production methods. So because of the supply increase, the supply S1 will shift to the right and will become S2. It also affects the consumers. Because of the high price, there will be consumers who will be leaving the market. So this demand curve will shift to the left, and this will become the new demand curve of D1. Because of these signaling effects of the market, now the price will come down to P once again, but it will have a new equilibrium, E2. So the quantity will also would have been reduced to Q1 here. So these are the three effects or three functions of price mechanism. You can see the signaling function, the incentive function, and rationing function. And if you were to depict this in a diagram, this would be the result.